Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to see some of the topics related to Module 4 of embedded system. There is a microcontroller and embedded system subject with the subject code 18CS44. So previously discussed that is a previously video, some of the video we completed concepts called characteristic and quality attributes, and operational non-operational quality attributes also completed in the previous video lecture. Embedded system application and domain specific, that part completed. And here we are going to see hardware software co-design, programming, modeling. So for more information you have to study that introduction to embedded system textbook by Shibu KV. Here embedded firmware design and development. Embedded here mainly thing is embedded firmware design and development concept. So how to design your firmware and how to develop your firmware. So before that, what you mean by firmware? Firmware is a software. So embedded system is a combination of software and hardware, and that is used for particular purpose or specific purpose that we discussed in the previous classes. Now here combination of software and hardware, so that software is called as firmware. In the mainly embedded components we are calling that software as a firmware. Now here how to design your software or firmware, how to develop that particular software. We will see some of the concept related to this. The embedded firmware is responsible for controlling the various peripherals of the embedded hardware and generating response in accordance with the functional requirements mentioned in the requirements for the particular embedded product. Here why we are using embedded firmware, that concept here given. The embedded firmware is responsible, that means they are completely responsible for controlling various input output, that is a peripheral means input output of the embedded hardware, and generating response accordance with the functional requirements mentioned in the requirements particular embedded system. Some of the main functional requirements are there, main things of embedded system, and that is a controlled completely, and in one line we can tell it as firmware is considered as a master brain of embedded system. By this line itself we can understand how much embedded firmware is important. So complete control of all peripherals of the embedded system is done by embedded firmware. So that much important firmware is there. One intelligence is imparted to the embedded product by embedding the firmware in the hardware. So intelligence imparted to the embedded product by embedding means adding the firmware, that is a software, inside the hardware. The product start functioning properly and will continue serving the assigned task till hardware breakdown occurs or corruption in the embedded firmware occurs. So whatever you inserted software inside that hardware, that will function properly till some of the conditions. What are the conditions? Either there is a hardware breakdown, at that time software won't work if there is any hardware breakdown, or there is any corruption in the embedded firmware occur, then only your embedded firmware will not work properly. Because by till this, that is if you want that perform embedded software properly, means that these two conditions we have to avoid. One is corruption in the software, another one is a hardware breakdown. Otherwise definitely that embedded firmware won't happen anything, that will work properly in any cases. In case of hardware breakdown, the damaged component may need to be replaced by new component, And for firmware corruption, the firmware should be reloaded to bring back the embedded product to the normal functioning. I think you understood this line. If there is in the previous case we seen that software will work until either hardware breakdown or corruption of software. So if there is any corruption of software, what is the solution? We have to load another new software, reloaded. We have to load another one, okay, new one, or that previous one itself we have to load again, reload. But if there is any hardware breakdown, we have to replace that component itself. Entire hardware component we have to replace. So that are the two solutions for previous problem. The most of the embedded product, the embedded firmware is stored at permanent memory. You know why we are storing your software in permanent memory? Because read only memory, right? Read only memory, that is a ROM, that is a permanent memory. So here anything stored in ROM, that is a permanent. So mainly we need this software permanent. So if you are going to store this embedded firmware in RAM, that is temporary. When you switch off your embedded device, definitely that whatever present in RAM, that will erase, right? That's why we have, in order to avoid that, we are going to save our main softwares, all types of software is in the ROM itself. But whenever it needs, then we can take in the RAM when it is device is on, but we have to store that in ROM itself, and they are not alterable by end user. So mainly manufacturer will create some software and they will embed that particular software inside that hardware, and end user, that means any user should not modify that code in between. If modification chance is there, he will modify that, by that system, entire system will corrupt. That's why end user should not modify that particular code. That's why it is stored in the ROM, read only memory. Another some of the points are here. Designing embedded firmware requires understanding of the particular embedded product hardware. So we have to understand the particular embedded product hardware. So before preparing software, we need to see many things about other thing, that is a hardware thing, mainly like various component interfacing, memory map details, input output port detail, configuration and register details of various hardware chips used, and some of the programming language. So these all the things we have to consider and we have to study before design any embedded software. Embedded firmware development process starts with the conversion of the firmware requirement into program model using modeling tool like UML or flowchart based representation. There is some of the models are there which is used, that is the embedded firmware development process starts with conversion of your requirements into models. What are the requirements are there? All we have to convert into some models before development. Last point is, once the model or program model is created, once your model is created, the next step is the implementation part. That is implementation of the task and action by capturing the model using a language which is understandable by the target processor. We are using some language and we are going to model that, we are going to implement that. So this is very important stage, that is the last stage, implementation. So before that we have to requirement, that is a conversion of firmware requirement to model requirement. After creating model, you have to implement that. So these are the steps for this embedded firmware design and developments. So under this we have one of the main topic, that is a embedded firmware design approaches. There is a different approach to design embedded firmware. The firmware design approach for the embedded product is purely dependent on the complexity of the function to be performed, the speed of the operation required. Mainly these two things matters while designing a embedded firmware. One is complexity of the function to be performed, which the kit or which embedded device we are going to build, right? That device functions we have to see, and that their complexity also we have to measure. And then what is the speed requirement and speed of the operation required, that also we have to consider while designing this embedded firmware. So there are two basic approaches are there. One is conventional procedure based firmware design. The another name is called super loop model, and the one is a embedded operating based model, OS based model or design. So here while comparing these two, that is a super loop model and embedded OS based model, name itself tells that here OS we are using. In the super loop model we are not using OS. Very simple definition, we are not using OS here, we are using OS here. Okay, so any embedded software or embedded device, mainly embedded device that we are not using OS, that is coming under super loop model, which is using OS, that is come under embedded operating based design. That is a main difference. Now we will go to both super loop model and embedded OS based design. Now we will go for first one, super loop model. What is this? So somewhat important concept in this particular module, the super loop based approach. The super loop based firmware development approach is adopted for applications that are not time critical and where the response time is not so important. Here main thing is super loop model, where we are using this model. So again another name for that is conventional procedure based firmware design. So where we are using this, here we are using this where time not that much critical, not time critical, in that application we are using. Another thing, response time is not so important, there also we are using this model, super loop based approach. Okay, not time, I given a lot of example for this in the previous slides, previous classes. Not time critical, everything is responsive and reliability is response and real time embedded devices are there, but not time critical means in terms of seconds or minutes in the real time applications. So now we will go for that in detail. It is very similar to conventional procedural programming. Programming method, we are using here only programming, where the code is executed task by task, one by one code is executed. That is the method we are using in super loop model. Again we are not using OS here, just we are going to execute some programs, and for each task there is a program. So program by program we are going to execute, that's why they given executed task by task. Each task is executed in serial in this approach, that is very important, serial fashion, one by one, not parallelly. First 10 programs are there or 10 tasks are there, then first, then second one, then third, then fourth, like this there is a execution procedure. The task 1 to n are performed one after another, and when the last task is executed, the firmware execution is again redirected to task 1 and it is repeated forever in the loop. So here we are using programming method. Many programs are there. Each program is set as a task by task. There are many tasks required by the embedded system, that our tasks are performed by using programs. All programs are executed in serial fashion, and now consider 10 programs are there. Okay, first, then second, then third, till 9, after 9 10, 10 after 10 again it first one is executed, there is no 11th one, so again it is first one, there is a loop, okay, that is called super loop. Since the tasks are running inside the infinite loop, the only way to come out of the loop is either hardware reset or interrupt assertion. There are 10 programs, all 10 programs are executed in loop. If you want to come out of that loop, that means if you want to stop that device execution or program execution, there are only two methods. In hardware we have reset button, in software we have interrupt option. So any one of the thing we have to go for, otherwise your program will not stop. Either hardware reset or software interrupt. The super loop based design doesn't require an operating system. It doesn't require any operating system. This type of design is deployed in low cost embedded product and product where response time is not critical. We are using in low cost devices, okay. High cost device anyway we have to use OS, but low cost design we are using this. Why we are using in low cost design, that I will tell you in the drawback place, okay. A typical example for super loop based approach or product is electronic video game toy containing keypad and display unit. You know, this small children will play video games and all. There we have actually inside this there is an embedded device, but we have only some programs, and that programs are executed repeatedly in loop fashion, and there is no OS inside any electronic toys. So that is because there is a low cost. If you are using any OS, that we need high cost for that. That's why in order to prepare low cost, they using this super loop based approaches. There we have set up programs all executed in serial fashion. If that program executed in serial fashion, some of the drawbacks are there. What are the drawbacks? Failure in any part of the single task will affect the total system. See, you consider 10 codes are there. 10 code, one by one code is executed in serial fashion. So any one of the code, any failure in any part of the single task, one of the code failure is entire total system will fail, because that won't goes to next code, so entire system will fail there. If the program hangs up, there is a chance of hanging program at some point of while executing a task, it will remain there forever. That means if that hang up occurs, in that part itself that will remain forever, and ultimately the product stop functioning. There is a chance is there, okay. So if there is any hang up of program, because anyway programs are there, we are not using any control unit also, we are not using any OS also for controlling purpose, just programs are there executed in serial fashion. So any one program is hanging up, then complete system may stop functioning properly, okay. So in order to avoid that, one solution is there. You can use one watchdog timer. We seen this one module 3. What do you mean by watchdog timer? We have one timer. There we are going to set one time. Once that time is become 0, that means we have if you are going to place that 10 seconds, means in watchdog timer that count will decrease 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 like this. Once it reaches 0, suddenly your entire system will reset. So that is called watchdog timer. So there is a option is there. If there is any hang up is there, then you can use watchdog timer in that embedded device. Once hang up occurs, suddenly watchdog timer should on, and that will entire device will reset after some time. So If you going to use any watchdog timer in embedded device in order to avoid this problem, but one thing is cost wise you have to pay more, and another one is size of the device also somewhat large because of watchdog timer. And last is the lack of real timelines. That is uh, in real life, try to avoid these things. So that is we have to use electronic toys. There is no options. Video games, toys we have to use, but real timeline means that is not that much uh, real time or responsive. Okay, lack of real time lines is there, that we can discuss in the another method. One approach is super loop model, second approach is embedded operating system OS based approach. So here in the embedded operating system based approach, that is OS based approach, we are using OS. There we not used any OS, here we are using OS. In the previous case we used a set of programs and each program executed in serial fashion, but here we are using OS. OS will control everything. If there is any hang up, OS will control. If there is any software damage, OS will control. Everything will controlled by OS. Here we have two types of OS: general purpose OS and real time OS. General purpose OS GPOS and real time OS is RTOS. We discussed this in module 2, that is a platform OS and RTOS. RTOS we have again a soft real time and hard real time OS. So general purpose OS means we have they given based design very similar to conventional PC based application development, where the device contains an operating system like Windows, Unix, Linux, etc., and you will be creating and naming user application on it. So this is general purpose OS. So here whatever PC or laptop you are using, that is a general purpose OS that we can use for any purpose. Any application we can run on that particular operating system. But real time operating system is not like a general purpose. That is only for specific purpose we are using. Based on design approach is employed in embedded product demanding real time response. So real time response is very important in this real time case, real time operating system RTOS. But this real time response is not important in GPOS. Okay, GPOS we are not seeing any time thing. If that 1 hour delayed, 1 hour hang up, also no problem. But in the RTOS case, 1 second hang up also, that will lead to some many damages or many losses. Okay, so that is that time is very important in the case of RTOS. Response also time, that two things are very important. That's why real time response is given. Response and time also, with both things very important in the case of RTOS. Some of the examples they given for RTOS: Windows CE. So here Windows is different, Windows CE is different. PSOS, so then VxWorks, this is a famous one. ThreadX and Micro C, OS2, embedded Linux, Symbian, etc. are the example for RTOS real-time operating systems. And some applications they given mobile phones also. RTOS is used, PDA, and some of the example here given handheld devices, so are example product of RTOS. So here in this class we discussed about mainly OS, how firmware is designed, what are the requirements we have, then conventional and that is a super loop model, and OS based approach are the two approaches to design embedded firmware. So in the next class we will see some of the other topic related to this module 4. Thank you.